On this episode, we have our worst month ever, and this episode might even brick your listening device. Wait, no, that's fake news.
I want my money back right now.
Welcome to Save Every Universe. My name is Alec Garcia. I am something like a very sketchy traveling circus worker, but as my schemes escalate, the man with the golden gun may just come knocking at my door.
Oh, I know that one.
Yeah, you do. Dig deep within yourself. It's James.
That's a place I don't like to look.
It's James Bond. Golden gun.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. That's
Golden Eye, I found
Eye.
your weakness. What was the theme song for? Golden?
You're Tina Turner.
Was it Goldfinger? Did he have the golden gun?
Goldfinger.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, because we sang that for the Wish Ender on Destiny.
Yeah, we did.
The bow. Wish Ender.
Yeah, it's a good thing we didn't record that. My name is Robbie. I'm the only boy in the village who grew up without a fairy, but now my time has come to leave my home forever and stop the rising darkness that threatens to consume our entire kingdom. At least I finally got a fairy.
Lob and...
This one's easy and the last one's easy too.
Yeah.
Easy.
Who were you last week?
I was Captain Falcon.
Show me your moves.
Show me your moves.
Yeah, that was a good one. And last time I told you wouldn't get this off the top of your head, but I think you will know it. But the Red Mercury War and all that stuff is the pilot from Warhawk, on PlayStation 1, the original Warhawk game. Do you remember? Did you ever play that game?
Oh no, huh? So I wouldn't have got it.
Man,
I thought it was a Doom reference of some kind.
Oh, yeah, right? Red Mercury, like the Red Planet War
against
what I was
the
thinking. Demons and all that.
Yeah.
I could see that. Yeah, so this maybe was on Mars. I don't remember. But Red Mercury was like this stuff they used to power weapons. Or
what kind of game? Was it like a shoot 'em?
It was a flight sim, but it was like very combat heavy. It wasn't like a super realistic flight sim, which would drive me crazy. But you'd fly around and shoot stuff, and it was good. It was a good game. It was like one of the games I played the crap out of. I don't like flying games in general, but that one was like one of my favorite games from that generation.
Isn't it weird that flight games have become like cheap, shitty games now? Like if you
they're super deep, because the Ace Combat 7 or whatever
got
true. Really good reviews for being like this really great technical flight sim and stuff. So I think you get one or the other.
They've like fallen out of fashion though.
Yeah.
It's like they were 90s games.
Yeah.
Games like Rogue Squadron.
Yeah.
And all those amazing games, they're not cool anymore.
I remember back in the day, on PC there used to be like those like you could buy like the thruster thing and like the actual pilot deal. It was like you could buy like
the whole cockpit
for those really like complex like super realistic flight simulators for their time. Pretty nuts.
I always wanted one.
Yeah.
But now you can find them in like used pawn shop.
Yeah,
like in a corner somewhere.
Even back then, though, like I think my friend's dad had one that like lived down the street from me, and I went and tried it because I was like, that looks so cool. It was not that cool. It was very realistic and boring, and you have this fantasy of like flying and stuff, but it's like it's not that cool. You thrust, and you have to do a certain amount of degrees. There's no freedom.
We're talking about flying.
There's no power in it.
We're not talking about making a baby.
Thrust. There's no freedom in it. You think there's freedom in the thrusting, but then you find out there's only responsibility. Moving on.
Maybe Tony should cut that. He won't though.
Why?
Because
that was a wonderful bit of unpracticed, unrehearsed, unsketched humor. It's not all written down here. We didn't plan that.
No, in fact, that's Alec's grocery list. You can see his list.
I baked you a cake. Continue.
Did you? All right. Well, we're not talking about thrusting this week, other than what we already.
Well, we kind of
about.
are. I'm gonna pepper that in actually, thrusting through the rest of the episode.
Great. This will be a good
This is the thrusting.
This is like an improv,
yeah,
like exercise technique thing.
Isn't thrust something a baby can get? Anyway, what are we talking about today, Robbie?
It's thrush.
Is it?
Yeah,
I think it's.
No, it's thrush.
Okay.
Jack had it. It's thrush.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are we talking about today?
I think we're talking about my oldest son's medical history. Is that
before we get yelled at by our producers? What are we talking about?
We are talking about the news. We're kind of in a weird, like we're a little bit into March, so I thought we'll talk a little bit about March, but mostly February, which was the worst gaming month in history, hands down.
By all accounts, yes.
I traded in all my consoles, and I smashed my PC.
It is like people were just like very crabby this month.
Very crabby.
And you know what?
We even got crabby with each other.
Well, yeah, because you started a fight.
Oh, that's how it's going to be, huh?
Anyway, but I think it was like all month long, even with all the stuff with Captain Marvel, like all of that about like boycott and Alita Challenge and like a lot of that polarizing venom that
Yeah.
has surrounded gaming this month was kind of
Wait,
just
what thing with
everywhere.
Captain Marvel? People boycotted Captain Marvel?
Are you joking?
No, I'm not.
Really?
Yeah, I
Oh.
just went and saw it today, but
So
I didn't know.
Brie Larson said in an interview, she said that she noticed that like during her press tour stuff that there was a lot of white middle-aged males asking her questions, and that was like the most journalist people who covered that. And she said I read somewhere that she like hired people to like do a study that it's like all white males that watch superhero movies. Like no one knew that in the first place. It's mostly white, not all,
I
but
saw
like
it.
it's a lot of middle-aged white males, like 30 plus white males is like a huge part of that demographic, right?
Okay.
So maybe 25 plus. And so she's like did a big push to like bring more like females and persons of color, I guess is the right term.
Sure.
To like, yeah. And her thing was like she's not taking seats away from white males. She's trying to bring more seats to the table, right? To give equal share.
So what's wrong with that?
Right. Okay. Not really anything.
Yeah.
So then somebody found this old clip where she spoke at something where they were talking about Wrinkle in Time or something like that. And she very like aggressively is like, I don't care if you don't like Wrinkle in Time. This movie was not made for you, and I don't need to hear about it from white males. And it was like this really aggressive, over the top, like, if you're a white male with an opinion about a movie with women in it, you need to shut the fuck up. Is like how it came across largely to the internet world. And so those two things kind of got blended. And so what happened basically was it ended up being, if you're a white male, you cannot come to Brie Larson says you cannot come to Captain Marvel.
Well,
and so it turned into this review bomb on Metacritic where people were like it was like the want to see.
I
rating.
saw something about.
They pulled that.
I saw they had to
pulled
disable it for
completely.
Captain Marvel. I saw something about that, but I didn't understand why.
Yeah, so that was like the whole deal. But like that type of really aggressive polarization is like
crap.
similar to what we're going to talk about with
Everything
Anthem.
else.
There was just like a lot of that in February and then into early March.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
What's going on? People just losing their minds?
Yeah.
I thought I was just stressed. I had a stressful month.
It's
so
like people were like going
me.
online just to troll like Captain Marvel on like they did like a live Twitter stream thing, and
Look, I know we don't tend to like divulge our personal lives, but we had something at the law school, and I won't go into the details, but it was like something happened and the entire community was like erupted over controversy, like a similar reaction. It was like this, people just freaked out and lost their minds, and and I was, even then, I was like, is this just how we react to everything? Mm-hmm. So maybe February is just a month of, we just go straight to 11.
Mm-hmm. I think that's just sort of, that kind of is like the cult, like it's called like the term is outrage culture.
Yeah.
And it's a term for a reason. I don't think everybody reacts that way, but obviously the people who are the loudest, like that's how they approach voicing their opinion, is pick a side and then dig in and overstate and get aggressive.
It does drown out the middle voices.
Yeah. Agreed.
So if you're the outrage people, you probably don't like this podcast. Just stop now.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to freak out and scream at you.
It's true. Like if you look at some of the biggest like YouTubers and biggest podcast, not big video in the video game realm specifically, right?
Right.
Like especially with YouTubers, it's the people who are the most aggressive and scream the loudest and have the most polarizing opinion. Those are the people that get the most views.
We're never going to make it big.
Because it's sensationalism and
we're never going to be big.
Never.
We need to change up our podcast.
Well, maybe we can clickbait it. So, and then people.
We've
get
tried
sucked
that.
in.
Those actually tend to get more views too.
It's sad, right?
Yeah, when we're like,
not
developers don't want you to hear this episode.
Yeah,
that's what we need to do. Yeah. That was also the premise of the save point last week that I put up. Oh, did you talk about?
Maybe we'll just title this one the other side doesn't want you to hear this message.
Yeah,
and they can decide which side that is. And
I meant to bring up. I know I'm going backwards here, but I don't remember. I don't know who you were in the save point. I realize we don't ever say who we are in the save points. I think I wrote down, I was Robin.
Okay.
I don't remember who you were.
Yeah,
were you PewDiePie?
Oh, yes, that's right. Yeah, and that's the one you gave me shit for later. But that was the same thing, because, we're talking about
we talked about
YouTubers and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Well, so Anthem came out to a rocky start.
Yep.
I like Anthem. Alec has been less than pleased with Anthem. I think I'm not going to take your words for you.
Yeah.
But either way, no matter how you look at it, it's had some rough patches. It had some glitches, had some bugs. the extent of how you feel about that tends to be very
Well,
polarizing.
and like even based on that statement, right? Even people who have come out to say what you just said,
Yeah.
the reaction immediately is like, "Are you fucking kidding me? A kind of rocky start?" Rah, rah, rah.
Yeah.
But if you look, I don't know. If you look at like the body, if you look at like Metacritic, for example, if you look at like the body of professional journalistic reviews, even they were not too hot on it, right? Like
Sure.
even if you look at just those critics, I have them right here I pulled these yesterday, so
Yeah.
they change and evolve. But like on Metacritic for Xbox One, it had a 67. For PC, it had a 60, and for PS4, it had a 56, which is like the average of like even the professional critic review. So they're not glowing. They're not great.
Yeah.
And the general gist, the general thrust of the whole thing is is that combat is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Flying is fucking incredible, and they nailed it, and it's really good.
Yeah.
The world design is like breathtaking. People always say like verticality and all that stuff. Some of the world design is really freaking cool.
Yeah, that's true.
Like I found myself just like stopping in the middle of a mission and then like looking around and like because it was so cool. Of course, I got pulled forward by the tether system for lollygagging, but
No lollygagging.
but generally like everything else is like people are mixed on or negative-ish on for the most part.
Yeah, it's interesting. You'll read, like, I shouldn't be doing this, but I've read a lot of comments.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy to read. Like,
Yeah.
Some people are like, this game is fun, I don't understand. And then the next one's like, you're the worst human on earth for thinking
you
that.
probably
It's-
pre-ordered, you fucking idiot.
Like, it's like all these things. This is a pile of garbage. I want my money back. Colossus for life. Where are my javelins at? Like, just, it's all over the place.
And on Metacritic, it's actually really interesting. There was like one positive review, like one negative review, and then a huge bar in the middle that was mixed, right?
Yeah.
And then if you looked at the user reviews, it was like a tiny little sliver of mixed and then a huge bar of negative and a huge bar of positive. So it's like exactly what you're saying. Like all the stuff that's happening online in the debate and the discussion is not this like neutral balance. Like, hey, this and this and this is really great. All this other stuff needs a lot of work. It's like, fuck you if you blah, blah. It's these extremely polarized on either side opinions, right? That aren't even, it goes to a place where it's not even about the game anymore. It's about you're an idiot for thinking that or pre-ordering that or believing
for feeling
that.
or believing, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, before Anthem came out, my wife and I were talking about it. So BioWare is one of my favorite developers, and it's one of her favorite developers because she loves the Dragon Age games.
Right.
And something about Dragon, all of their games tend to have some bugs. They come out and have some goofy bugs in them.
Which I mean, like, I don't know how you could do like the huge branching dialogue type stuff and not miss some bugs.
Yeah, but their bugs tend to be goofy stuff. Like, with Andromeda, I remember there was some like, goofy facial animations. They fixed it, but people were doing what they're doing now. In fact, I think our save point was around that time where PewDiePie was just screaming about Andromeda and stuff.
My face is tired.
Yeah.
Like that's the meme. Yeah.
But even my wife, like when Dragon Age Inquisition came out, which is one of her favorite games, the way they did the character design was so screwed up that like you saw your character and you're like, accept, okay, and then your character looked like a clown. Like the way they did the makeup and the lighting, like when you actually came out in the world, you looked
just like this freak show.
You looked like a freak. So she just put it down for 6 months.
Yeah,
like she didn't touch it.
Yeah.
She's like, they'll patch this, and then I'll be able to go fix my character's face, and then I'll enjoy the game. And so she just walked away, and she's got nothing bad to like. She loves BioWare, she loves Dragon Age, but she was the one of the. I mean, she was like, I'm worried because they always do that.
Yeah.
And the way that the internet is right now, they're not going to forgive them, or especially in like a loot shooter environment.
Right.
And she seems like she was right.
I think on a long enough timeline, because we saw this with The Division and with Destiny. I think on a long enough timeline, they can fix a lot of it, and they will fix a lot of it and smooth a lot of it out and make the loot more rewarding and add new strongholds and all kinds of things, right? I think the other fear on this is that they bailed on Andromeda, and EA has pulled the plug on things before, and I think now people are like, even the people who are like, yeah, I'll wait 6 months, it's like, is it going to even be around in 6 months? Is EA going to pull the plug? Is BioWare going to go down in flames? I don't think so either. But
here's my theory. Well, you beat the story. I'm not going to spoil the story.
Pretty hard to spoil, am I right?
Oh, you son of... So here's what I think about the story, the way it was written.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start sounding like you with Destiny here.
Okay.
So the story was good. I liked the story, but the way that it was written did not give me a sense of like big epic arc overall. It truly gave me a sense of like chapter 1. Like it really felt like this was like a big thing. We're introducing the world. We're introducing why your character's significant. We're showing you who some of the players are.
Yeah.
There's a pretty. I thought the final boss fight was cool, but it didn't feel like.
The final boss fight was really impressive. Like, I started feeling all kinds of good, positive things about Anthem until the very end of it. They totally shit the bed.
They did, but I think so. I think they wanted. I don't think they wanted that to be. I think they know. I think they intended for this to be like a whatever.
Yeah. No, I don't mean the final cutscene after. I mean the final slice of how the boss dies is just is batshit insane. You cannot do that. That's crazy.
I was surprised they did that too.
That's crazy. It's like when Catwoman in Dark Knight Rises, she just rides in and shoots Bane in the face, and all this buildup with Batman leading up to Bane, to like the Masked Man taking on the Masked Man, and he climbed out of the same pit to like face Bane, and then Catwoman rides in and shoots him in the face with a fucking rocket. You cannot do that. That's insane.
You love it when writers thwart the formula. I thought you loved that kind of thing.
No, I
you love all these Ryan Gosling films.
I never said that as a blanket statement.
I thought it was a blanket anytime.
There's nothing more anticlimactic than like you're working toward taking down a villain and then it just gets snatched away from you at the last second.
You mostly took him down.
There's dude.
Oh my god.
If you
all right, we won't spoil it.
It's bad.
It's not that bad.
The fight, though, was cool up to that point. It's very, very cool. Yeah.
So, my point is just, I kind of... Now, maybe I'm wrong. Like, every time... We have this fight every time Bungie talks about the next DLC. Yeah. And you've done it with the Drifter stuff that just dropped. You were like, the next Drifter shit is going to be so good. And I'm like, I don't think so. And you're like, they have a plan. They've always had a plan.
No.
And I've always been like, no, I think they...
This time's different, though.
I am still not convinced.
Because you and I had a huge discussion about, like, wouldn't it be cool if... And then you were like, they're not going to do that. I was like, yeah, it would be cool, but I agree, they probably won't do that. They're doing it. They're doing like the choice between light and dark, and you get to kind of make a path. It's not going to be BioWare Deep with 3 different branching shits
BioWare Deep is the size of condom I wear.
Name my sex thing.
Oh my god.
But they are doing that. They are like going further into the lore, and they are. It does seem like they're setting up an arc where the next DLC. I don't want to speak too soon, but like where the next DLC will kind of actually.
So really like I said, we both clearly have faith in the future of whatever. When the other one does not. Like I don't have. And the stuff I've heard so far about the Gambit DLC just dropped in Destiny.
Yeah.
I guess we haven't come right out and say what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Nothing has come out that sounds impressive. I think there's going to be some stuff in the next week or two that drops that then I'll finally want to play.
So, which is cool though, because what they're doing, they said it openly, like, "Hey, Gambit Prime, you're going to play it for a week, and it's going to be just this static experience that's really familiar but a little bit different, and then it's going to evolve over time, and it's going to tie into the larger story of the Drifter." So,
which I don't really.
It's cool, man. I'm on board.
Of course you are. You've always been on board.
Yeah. How did we get here? Why?
My point is, I feel that way about BioWare. Like, I actually think this was kind of the plan. I even kind of feel like they knew there was going to be backlash, and just like, whatever, we don't care.
Yeah.
Some of the differences with Andromeda that I don't feel are the same with Anthem are, I mean, Andromeda was developed by, like, a new sub-studio.
Right.
But this has been, like, big BioWare. They've had most of their resources on this. They've already come out and said, like, EA's not pulling support.
Yeah.
BioWare's not in trouble.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people bought the game. I mean, I'm sure they've already made a decent chunk of change on it.
Yeah.
And there's still, I think despite the backlash and the venom, there's still a lot of people playing. It's not
like my experience of it has been like matchmaking is super easy.
Yeah,
and there's always people on, and it's not like it's a ghost town.
No. It's glitchy, though. I mean, there's... Yeah. I'm not saying it's not. Like, I tried to do a quick match, got to the end, and the objective wouldn't pass, and I just had to quit out of the match.
Yeah, I had a couple things like that, too.
So, I mean, it's got bugs.
Yeah.
It's definitely at its best when you're playing with your friends. Mm-hmm. We've talked before that you could
It's at its best when you're playing at all. Like, the load screens are a very serious issue for me. I cannot... It's so much just, like, stagnant waiting.
Yeah.
And we were talking about this. Like, with Destiny, it's not that there's necessarily less loading time, but they have, like, put things in there to, like, soften the blow of just staring at a hard loading screen.
See, the scales have fallen for me. Like, they fell, like, 9 months ago.
Yeah.
I finally realized, like... I am so sick of these loading screens in Destiny that they drive me crazier.
I don't know how you could go to Anthem and not mind it, though.
Maybe it's just because I'm, like... probably because Destiny broke me or conditioned me for it. Because to me, the Anthem loading screens are way shorter.
Yeah.
And I already stopped looking at my inventory in Destiny. Like, I know what shit I have.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Let me just play the game.
Yeah.
And so, to me, like, the ability to, like, imagine in Destiny, you just pressed X and it picked your character and you were in the tower.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that would be really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of having to go through, like, 4 loading screens just to get to the tower.
Yeah. That's not a Destiny Anthem. Like, all of them have those heavy loading screens on the front end.
I don't, and there's
because you're loading
you
into
have
a
to
live
do
service
it, yeah.
or whatever.
A live service with a huge world,
Yeah.
and they don't want a bunch of loading screens.
It
internal.
is. I would say no matter not talking about any particular game, but just these live service games in general. That is a barrier to the immersion of the experience and spending more time in the world. Like all of this downtime in between changing activities and stuff like that. If a developer could solve that with some server magic or however, because I've heard people say that no matter what speed of internet they're connected to, the load times are the same because it's more about the servers. I don't know the technical side behind that, but if developers could find a way to crack that nut and you get in faster, you spend less time between changing activities and stuff like that, it would be massive for that whole genre.
Yeah, I've wondered too, and like I don't know how much. Like, MMOs tend to put so much on your computer so that if you just have a quick hard drive, it really helps loading times a lot.
Right.
But I haven't noticed as much with these loot shooters. Like, I bought a high-performance hard drive for my PS4.
Yeah.
It seems to load faster than the Pros because it has a higher RPM.
I still need to do that.
But it's still not that big of a difference,
Right.
I've noticed. I'm ahead of you guys by, like...
Seconds.
Yeah. I mean, it's not much.
Yeah.
All right, let's get away from the Anthem thing. There's other things that happened.
I want to talk. It's on a similar note. I want to talk about Far Cry New Dawn real quick because people.
I haven't gotten to play it yet.
Yeah, it's. People are saying it's like a bad game, which is crazy to me. Like far and away, like the Metacritic thing, right? Like it's getting like a 7.75 very consistently across the board. And for a DLC to a game, like that's a solid, respectable score. And I think that that's a fair score. And I think the DLC brought in some new stuff. They made their outposts where you can go liberate outposts around the map to take them back from enemy control, that kind of thing. They're fun, right? It's like eliminate the enemies around the thing. But they built in a system where you can go back and re-liberate them, but they sort of integrated that in a way where the difficulty escalates and your rewards go up. So the replay value of liberating outposts was higher.
Oh, cool.
They have an excursion system where all of America has like fallen and been destroyed, right? And this dude with a helicopter will take you to different locations around the United States to like steal resources and stuff and bring them back to your camp. And the way that it plays is almost like they took like the best curated stuff out of Far Cry Arcade from Far Cry 5 and integrated it into New Dawn in this kind of cool, interesting way that applies back to like upgrading your base and those kinds of things.
That's kind of cool.
I thought it was very like clever.
Yeah.
And nothing groundbreaking, nothing earth shattering. Like the story's pretty good. They brought some supernatural stuff back that they used to do quite a bit in the old Far Cry. And I was like, that's awesome. I was like so happy to see that again. Overall, solid game, like 7.75, very solid, respectable score for a DLC, which is what this is. But people, like we're talking about, still were like, oh, it's a fucking disaster. Nobody's buying it. And I'm sure sales were down because like it's a DLC. If you didn't love 5 and you didn't love the story of 5 and love the way that ended and wanted the resolution, why would you buy this game, right? Of course sales are going to be way lower than Far Cry 5.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
Do you know what I should have thought about this before our episode, but I wonder what Lost Legacy was for Uncharted.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's a similar thing, right? Where it's kind of like a standalone DLC. It was less money.
That was even more standalone, though, I think, than... like, this is, like, very directly, like, the thrust of the story is resolution with like the father and kind of how society has come forward in the wake of everything, and it's very much about the father and his relationships with his people and kind of the world he sets up in the north and all that.
Okay.
They do some really cool story stuff though.
Even thrust, I can't believe it.
Yeah. There's some like really cool story stuff though, where there's like this transgenerational thing that happens where the new generation that grew up in the bunkers and has now come out into the daylight that didn't live through all the events of Far Cry 5. There's like that tension between the kids who are coming into adulthood and the parents who lived through it, of like where they don't understand why Joseph Seed's people were so bad, and they're like, you know, like why do you care? Why are you so against these people? Maybe
kinda
maybe
interesting.
they can help us. It was a really cool relational transgenerational dynamic that I haven't seen in a story in a video game, maybe ever. I thought was super cool. So there was like these little peppered innovative things inside of a DLC. Very solid, very respectable. It does not deserve the hate that it's getting. That's all I wanted to say.
Sorry.
About Far
I don't
Cry.
have much to chime in on.
No, that's all right.
So I'll let you
I just wanted to like throw my 2 cents on that. That it's good. If you liked 5, it's worth playing, I think.
Let's talk about the positive thing. The only good thing that's happened. Apex Legends.
Yeah, so let's end on that actually.
You don't want to talk about Rape Day?
I would rather not talk about Rape Day.
I don't want to talk about Rape Day.
Maybe we'll cover that in March after there's more information about it.
Yikes.
Or March recap. News.
We're not going to talk about Rape Day. So if you
Well,
tuned
once we
into-
see what Steam kind of does with it and all that.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be some fallout.
There's a game called Rape Day. That's all I'm telling you right now. Maybe we'll talk more about it later.
There's
Because
a-
it's like kind of just...
But it's kind of becoming like the coming to a head with Steam's hands-off policy of what goes on their platform. They're kind of being pushed into taking a position on a very graphic, crazy game.
The game's called Rape Day.
It's called, yeah.
You can imagine.
literally rape. Just that's what you do.
Yeah. In the day.
Which is insane. So maybe we got like we'll cover that in our March.
Yeah.
Once
that's
there's a
probably
little
good
more
idea.
information about like what Steam is going to do with
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
All right, then let's talk about Apex Legends.
Valve. Okay, go ahead and go.
It's fun.
It is fun. It's very fun.
That's all I have in my notes. No, I'm just kidding. No, so it's a battle royale.
Mm-hmm.
It came out kind of under the radar. There's been some hints of it,
Mm-hmm.
but like I think largely nobody knew the extent. It was like the people from Titanfall are making some kind of game.
Yeah.
What is it? And then I remember I didn't see stuff like popping up mainstream like
Yeah.
on IGN and stuff until like 2 days before it came out.
Right.
And should I tell you my conspiracy theory with Kotaku and all that?
No. Well, have I heard this?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Because it involves Anthem.
Okay.
I've tried not to talk to you much about these. Well, okay. So it's fun. I really enjoyed Apex Legends. My brother and I played it. You and I have played it
Yeah.
some. It's a really well-made game. I didn't.
It reminds me
experience-
quite a bit, like if you imagine Blackout from Call of Duty mixed with Overwatch.
Yeah.
But then it's
But
also
the
very
shooting is so tight,
yeah,
just like
it's
Titanfall.
Respawn. It's
yeah, it's
Respawn
great.
shooting
The
mechanics,
handling
yeah.
is fun. The guns
Yeah.
are cool.
Yeah.
They're. I saw it in your notes, but I think the same thing. Like it's so intuitive to stick with. It incentivizes staying with your team.
Mm-hmm.
Like as long as you don't, you have to work to be a jackass and run off.
Yeah.
Like the natural, if
And
you're
you're
just
punished really quickly for
Yeah.
trying to go solo.
when you drop in, you're
Yeah.
naturally locked in with your people.
Yeah.
You can suggest things, but you have to like force yourself away.
I think that's one of the biggest things is the communication system. Is like the tap R1 to tag things. You aim
It's
at
so
something
easy.
and tap like R1 on a gun, and it's like it'll say it out loud, like, "Hey, got a scout rifle over here, whatever it's called,
Right.
or a
enemies
sniper
over here.
rifle or
I'm being
whatever."
shot.
Yeah.
Like, and so you don't
Yeah.
have to be on mic
Yeah,
with.
to communicate extremely effectively with your
Yeah,
team.
it's really cool.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's like it's so good and so intuitive and so flawless that it's like, why did this not exist in other
Yeah.
games? Why has no one else done this? Battlefield had a little bit of like the spotting thing where you could say tank over there,
Yeah.
but they kind of went away from that in 5 a little bit,
know.
which
It was nice in
yeah,
one. Yeah.
But
But
yeah,
it's up to 50 million as of today.
Mhm.
Who knows by the time?
Yeah.
I mean, it's growing all the time.
yeah,
It's definitely my favorite battle royale I've played.
yeah.
And we've talked.
Well,
about
there was like
battle
almost
royale
like there was like a microsecond of groaning of like, are you serious? Another battle? Oh, this is really good.
Yeah.
It's like it was
Uh-huh.
like that quick, you know? Yeah.
So here's my conspiracy theory.
Okay.
Everybody loves Apex Legends,
Yeah.
but it came in kind of under the radar.
Yes.
I noticed that Kotaku's review for it didn't come out until like February 28th,
Okay.
and the game released February 4th.
Okay.
So that's a good chunk of time,
Yeah.
almost 4 weeks, right?
Yeah.
And then the Anthem review came out 2 days after it released,
Mm.
and they slaughtered it, of course.
Yeah.
I think a lot of these, like, so why we're seeing all this sensational Venom crazy stuff
Yeah.
is because it's clickbaity, right?
Right.
So I know people have said this before and think that, but like honest to God, I was like, seriously, they didn't review Apex Legends until after they hit 50 million, and then they're like, oh, it's so great. Well,
Yeah.
everybody knows it now, jackasses.
Yeah.
So I think they're kind of like only putting out shit that
To
they know.
capitalize on
Yeah,
whatever
they're
the
just
popular
riding the
opinion
momentum
is.
so they can get clicks.
I
and
think
get-
that's true too. I mean, like even I'm not making a statement about this one way or the other, but once like the issues of feminism and sexism and gaming and all that stuff, like they didn't say shit about that until it became popular. It's
No,
not like
that's
they were
true.
these like voices pioneering
No,
for
hell
equal.
no, they weren't.
No, like But now you can watch read about Days Gone, and they're like, I felt like a middle-aged, bearded male protagonist was overdone naturally, as we all think. And it's shut the fuck up. You weren't like you're just jumping on the boat. Like it's not like you were this pioneer of voice for social change.
Yeah, so that bugs me a little bit.
Yeah,
but I think Apex is getting the praise it deserves. Like I think
it is a well-made. It's a well-made game.
Yeah, it's really cool. So if you're into Battle Royale or have wanted to check out Battle Royale,
or even if you're just into tight shooters, like if you like
free to play.
That Titanfall style shooter, it's good.
Try it out. Really like don't let the Battle Royale thing, because like I've tried to tell Tony to play it and he's still it's a Battle Royale.
But and the other thing, because I hate load screens, I'm gonna keep thrusting on this.
Yes, you will.
Is I love that they got rid of like the loading area, which was kind of like a standardized thing since PUBG. It's like you start a game, you go into a loading area, then you load into the match. It's like you hit ready and you just are flying in with two other people. It's awesome.
It is awesome.
So like that pace of just kind of jump in, play a couple games, be done with it is like, it's really fun. It's a good free to play. It's a good shooter by any standards, but it's a really good free to play casual game.
Yeah, it's really too bad it came out in the worst gaming month of all time.
Yeah. It's not the worst gaming month.
It's my worst gaming month. That's my truth. Okay?
Dude, God, my truth. Thank you for listening to Save Every Universe. If you enjoyed this episode, please share us with somebody you know that loves being toxic. Put us in their ears, you know? Let us talk some sense into them.
Yes, stick us in there.
Did we talk any sense? Thrust us in their ears.
Thrust us in their ears, and we'll clean the toxicity right out of them.
Right out of there. If you'd like to support us financially, you can do so at patreon.com/SaveEveryUniverse.
That's right. We'll send you a private invite to our Champions of the Universe Discord channel.
You need to get it together.
Where we talk about thrusting. We talk about...
we don't talk about thrusting.
No, not yet, but we will. If you want.
Soon coming.
Ask us about thrusting, and we'll
Should
tell
that be
you.
like, you know how people have like fan names, right? Like pop stars have like their whatever army or something like that.
Thrusters.
Yeah, should ours just be the Thrusters?
The Thrusters?
Yeah.
Maybe.
We'll work on that.
Yeah. Anyway, I know Tony put out the challenge. We haven't reached the $50 yet. So as of right now, we have not reached the $50 Patreon challenge. We will not be crapping our pants on VR.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you know, we need more donors.
And would you like a mug instead? Would that be a better Patreon thing?
You're just scared.
I like mugs.
I like not crapping my pants.
People like mugs.
So, thanks for listening.